Hello and welcome to CET 4884. In this session, we will address a number of widely accepted security models and frameworks and examine the planning processes that support business continuity, disaster recovery, and incident response. This session examines best business practices and standards of due care and due diligence, and it offers an overview of the development of security policy. We will learn that different organizations have different information security needs. We will also learn about information security blueprint and its major components. The creation of an information security program begins with reviewing and analyzing the current organization's information security in place, including policies, standards, and practices. So we need to look at the current security system that we have in the company and see what are the vulnerabilities of the system, what's missing, what's not correct, and we need to correct it, all these things. We need to look at the system in general. After the review, the organization can create or select an information security architecture that shows the components of that system, the relationship of the components between each other, how the information flow between those components, and what do I need to do to secure the movement of information and the assets of the company. At that point, the development of a detailed information security blueprint will assist in creating a successful security plan. It is the management's responsibility to develop and shape the proper policy and use the security blueprint to plan for company's success. The organizational plan that was created using the blueprint will be translated into strategic plan or plans. And the strategic plans will be translated into tactical objectives with specific, measurable, achievable, and time-bounded accomplishments. The tactical planning focuses on shorter-term objectives. Actually, it breaks down the strategic goal into a series of incremental objectives specific to a division or a department. The Chief Information Security Officer and the security managers use the tactical plan to organize, prioritize, and acquire resources necessary for security projects. If I need a hardware, if I need a software, if I need to add more personnel, or if I need even to have a lock like physical security, then all that will be identified and resources will be acquired. Managers and employees use operationals or operational plans that are derived from tactical plan to organize daily tasks. So the operational is the daily operations that we do on a daily basis, and from the tactical plan we can organize these daily tasks and again, make sure that the daily tasks are secured. The upper management has a set of responsibilities and practices with a goal providing strategic direction to ensure that objectives have been achieved. These set of responsibilities and practices are called information security governance. So governance ensures that risks are managed properly and verified or verifies that company's resources are used responsibly. We need to make sure that they are used responsibly. The main 5 outcomes of information security governance are strategic alignment of information security with business strategy to support organizational objectives, managing risk through executing the proper measures to manage and mitigate threats to information security or information systems, managing resources by utilizing information security blueprint and architecture, measuring performance by monitoring and reporting information security governance metrics to ensure that organizational objectives are achieved, And the last one is delivering value by optimizing information security investments in supporting organizational objectives. It is recommended to follow a well-established security governance framework to ensure successful outcome. Management from all communities of interest must consider policies as the basis for all information security planning, design, and deployment. In general, policies direct how issues should be addressed and technologies used, not cover the specifics on the proper operations of equipment or software. Quality security programs begin and end with policy. As information security is primarily a management rather than technical problem, policy guides personnel to function in a manner that will add to the security of its information assets. Security policies are the least expensive control to execute or to add to the company, to deploy in the company. But the problem that it's the most difficult to implement. Shaping policy is difficult because it must never conflict with laws, stand up in court if challenged, be properly administered, including thorough dissemination and documentation from personnel showing they have read the policies. In some cases, if I need them to sign that they read and comprehend the or understood the policies, then I need them to sign that and make sure that they did read and understand the company's policy. That could be, of course, could be the day of hired, and then we can disseminate on like quarterly or annual basis, like either through training or through education or any kind of documentation that we need to do to disseminate the policies, company's policies to personnel. So what's the definition of a policy? A policy is, as you can see in this slide, a plan or course of action that is used by the organization to deliver or distribute instructions from the management to the company's employees. Basically, policies are organizational laws. Policies must contain information on what is right and what's not right. It will include the penalties for violating policies and the appeal process. While standards, we can say that there are more detailed statements of what must be done to comply with policy. Practices, procedures, and guidelines effectively explain how to comply with the policy. For a policy to be effective, it must be properly disseminated, read, understood, and agreed to by all members of the organization and equally enforced. And like I said, if you need them to sign that they read and understood the policy and agreed on it, then you have to make them sign. In some cases, we have a digital signature, or we can disseminate it through paper and make them sign on it, and it will be saved in their record for any future or legal issues. Management defines three types of security policy: general or security program policy, issue specific security policies, and systems specific security policy. Enterprise Information Security Policy is also known as a General Security Policy, IT Security Policy, or Information Security Policy. This policy sets the strategic direction, scope, and tone for all security efforts within the organization. The Enterprise Information Security Policy is an executive level document usually drafted by or with the CIO of the organization, and it's usually 2 to 10 pages long. When the Enterprise Information Security Policy has been developed, the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, begins forming the security team and initiates the security development life cycle, the process of developing the security plan. The enterprise information security policy contains an overview of the corporate philosophy on security, information on the structure of the information security organization and individuals who fulfill the information security role, fully articulates responsibilities for security that are shared by all members of the organization, employees, contractors, consultants, partners, and visitors. Um, Anyone else we can add? It depends on, again, we can add or omit the policy as needed. Fully articulated responsibilities for security that are unique to each role within the organization. As the organization executes various technologies and processes to support routine operations, certain guidelines are needed to instruct employees to use these technologies and processes properly. In general, the issue-specific security policy, the ISSP, addresses specific area of technology, requires frequent updates, and contains an issue statement on the organization's position on an issue. There are a number of approaches towards creating and managing ISSPs with or within an organization. Three of the most common are create a number of independent ISSPs documents, each tailored to a specific issue. Create a single comprehensive ISSP document attempting to cover all issues. Or create a modular ISSP document that unifies policy creation and administration while maintaining each specific issue's requirements. The main components of the issue-specific policy are statements or statement of policy, authorized access and usage of equipment, prohibited use of equipment, system management, violations of policy, policy review and modification, and limitations of liability. While issue-specific policies are formalized as written documents distributed to users and agreed to in writing, system-specific policies are frequently organized as standard and procedures used when configuring or maintaining systems. System-specific policies fall into two groups. The first group is access control lists or ACLs, which consist of the access control lists, metrics, and capability tables governing the rights and privileges of a particular user to a particular system. And then the second one is the configuration rules, comprise the specific configuration codes entered into security systems to guide the execution of the system. The access control list policy allows configuration to restrict access from anyone and anywhere. It regulates who can use the system, what authorized user can access, and when authorized user can access the system, and where authorized users can access the system from. Rule policies are more specific to the operation of a system than ACLs, and they may or may not deal with users directly. Many security systems require specific configuration scripts telling the systems that what actions to perform on each set of information they process. Policy management policies are a living document, so we need to manage them. So they must be managed and nurtured, and they are constantly changing and growing. Again, there are some scenarios that didn't happen before, it happened now, so I need to adjust and need to add or subtract policy points or objectives as needed. These documents must be properly disseminated and managed. Every time there is a change, every time there is an update, it has to be disseminated. Not only that, but on an annual basis, actually the policies has to be the whole policy or all policies has to be distributed and or disseminated and agreed on. Special considerations should be made for organizations undergoing mergers, takeovers, and partnership. Um, in order to remain viable, these policies must have an individual responsible for reviews, a schedule of reviews, a method for making recommendations for reviews, and an indication of policy and revision dates. Now, remember that we have, when you say merge, then you have two companies with two different policies, and now with the merge, we need to look at the different policies for these two companies and how to make those companies or the policies for the company be one set of policies or set of rules that fits both companies that merge or take over or in a partnership. The automated policy management is actually it's good to have because at that point the automated system can track all the changes. So there is an emergence of a new category of software for managing information security policies. In recent years, this category has emerged in response to needs articulated by information security practitioners. While there have been many software products that meet specific technical control needs, there is now a need for software to automate some of the by or busy work of policy management, because mostly it's just tedious work that need to be documented and updated, but we have a committee that will review these policies, and then with the automated system it will generate the new policies that will be entered in the system. But the write-up is busy work and lots of work, so we need some kind of an automated system or automated policy management system that can do the updates and do the changes for us. One approach to selecting a methodology is to adapt or adopt a published model or framework for information security. A framework is the basic skeletal structure, the skeleton, within which additional detailed planning of the blueprint can be placed as it's developed or refined. Experience teaches us that what works well for one organization may not precisely fit another. So it's not like one size fits all. It has to be customized based on the company, the company's products or services, and the company's culture. One of the most widely referenced and often discussed security models is the Information Technology Code of Practice for Information Security Management, which was originally published as the British Standards BS 7799. This code of practice was adopted as an international standard by the International Organization for Standardization, the ISO. I'm sure that you heard of ISO. And the International Electro Technical Commission, the IEC. So the ISO/IEC 17799 in 2000 was the framework for information security. That was the update for the British standard. The ISO/IEC 17799 includes the following. One, organizational security policy is needed to provide management direction and support for information security. Second, organizational security infrastructure objectives is to manage information security within the company, maintain the security of the organization, information processing facilities, and information assets accessed by third parties. Third, maintain, or actually, this is under two, to maintain the security of information when the responsibility for information processing has been outsourced to another organization. Third, the asset classification and control is needed to maintain appropriate protection of corporate assets and to ensure that information assets receive an appropriate level of protection. Fourth is the personal security objective, which is reduce risk of human errors, theft, fraud, or misuse of facilities, and then ensure that users are aware of information security threats and concerns and are equipped to support the corporate security policy in the course of their normal work. And minimize the damage from security incidents and malfunctions and learn from such incidents. Fifth, the physical and environmental security objectives prevent unauthorized access, damage, and interference to business premises and information, prevent loss, damage, or compromise of assets and interruptions to business activities, and prevent compromise or theft of information and information processing facilities. Six is the communications and operations management objective, and that's to ensure the correct and secure operation of information processing facilities, minimize the risk of systems failures, protect the integrity of the software and information, maintain the integrity and availability of information processing and communication, ensure the safeguarding of information in networks and the protection of supporting infrastructure, and prevent damage to assets and interruptions to business activities, and prevent loss, modification, or misuse of information exchange between organizations. Then for 7, 8, and 9, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and 7, 8, 9, and 10, we have for 7 system access control objectives in this area of security, which is control access to information. And 8 is the system development and maintenance objective, and the 9, business continuity planning to counteract interruptions to business activities and to critical business processes from the effect of major failures or disasters. And 10 is the compliance objectives, which is to avoid breaches of any criminal or civil law, statutory or regulatory or contractual obligations, and of any security requirements. So those are the ISO objectives and points. You can read them, and you can read the updated ones. Usually they update them frequently, or they update them like every other year or few years. So look at that, look at the updated version of the ISO series, and you will see what it covers or what it includes. In 2005, the ISO /IEC released the 27001 standard security model that has 4 steps: cycle, plan, do, check, and act. In the planning phase, you define the scope of the information security management system, define an ISMS policy, and then define the approach to risk assessment. You identify the risks, assess the risks, identify and evaluate options for the treatment of risk, select control objectives and controls, and then prepare a statement or the proper document of applicability. In the do phase, you formulate a risk treatment plan, implement the risk treatment plan, implement controls, implement training and awareness programs, manage operations, manage resources, implement procedures to detect and respond to security incidents. And in the check phase, you execute monitoring procedures, undertake regular reviews of ISMS effectiveness, review the level of residual and acceptable risk, conduct internal ISMS audits, undertake regular management review of the ISMS, record actions and events that impact the ISMS. In the act phase, you implement identified improvements, take corrective or preventive action, apply lessons learned, communicate results to interested parties, and ensure improvements achieve objectives. This table shows the series of current and planned standards, and you can see that some of them being published, some of them is not being published yet. I think we are now on 27015, which should be, I think it was released recently. Another approach available is described in the many documents available from the Computer Security Resource Center of the National Institute for Standards and Technology, NIST. These are among the references cited by the government of the United States when deciding not to select the ISO/IEC 17799 standards. NIST SP 800-12, the Computer Security Handbook, is an excellent reference and guide for the security manager or administrator in the routine management of information security. The NIST SP 800-14 generally accepted principles and practices for securing IT systems provides best practices and security principles that can direct the development of a security blueprint. NIST SP 800-18, the guide for developing security plans for IT systems, is considered the foundation for a comprehensive security blueprint and framework. It provides detailed methods for assessing, designing, and implementing controls and plans for various sized applications. NIST SP 800-14 generally accepted principles and practices talks about security support, the mission of the organization. Security is an integral element of sound management. Security should be cost effective. Systems owners have security responsibilities outside their own organizations. Security responsibilities and accountability should be made explicit. Security requires a comprehensive and integrated approach. Security should be periodically reassessed, and that's what we said. We need to make a cycle to reassess the system, reassess the security measures that we have, and then change it as needed. Security requires a comprehensive and integrated approach. We said that, and we said that security is constrained by social or societal factors that we need to look at within the system. So we have the tables in the book shows those security standards and factors that will affect, and it will give you a detailed information about those security factors. While no specific architecture is promoted through the Internet Engineering Task Force, the Security Area Working Group acts as an advisory board for the protocols and areas developed and promoted through the Internet Society. RFC 2196. Um, we have the Site Security Handbook that provides an overview of 5 basic areas of security with detailed discussions on development and implementation of the proper um, security plan or architecture. There are chapters on such important topics as security policies, security technical architecture, security services, and security incident handling. So that will be all for this session. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you and have a great day.